Wow. Yeah, no, I had to get a fresh coffee, have a smoke, and yeah, Ange, she just sets me over the edge. I love my baby. And that's that burning fire in a middle-aged woman who I've loved my whole life. If, wow. So, Ange, she gets put on a pedestal in my world. Nothing compares. Probably why I've alienated a couple Dimash fans, because instead of crying over high notes, I tend to cry over my feelings. I've got friends and family now out there all around the world that touch me in ways that I will never be able to reciprocate. But it's not about me, it's about John, and we're on John farewell tour through Australia's heartland, 60 Minutes Australia. This is part 2. I hope you just came right over from the first one, and let's finish this up. It ended on a weird note, so I apologize there. But we're at Sadie and the connection between the dancer behind him and her daughter becoming a backup singer for John. That's cool.
With you.
She left bandstand.
And there were 2 women. No, girls. They were girls standing behind me, and one of them was Danny's mum, who was 4.5 months pregnant with Danielle
me.
at the time.
With you.
She left bandstand at 5 months to have me. Wasn't that nice of her?
And now the
that's
tradition
awesome.
continues.
That's
Yeah,
it.
here we are. Here we are.
Danielle's the latest addition to a band which has been playing together for nearly 20 years. The camaraderie is as obvious as the mutual respect.
On stage was one of the greatest singers ever. There's a timbre and quality in his voice which is, unsurpassed. I mean, just like Don Bradman, the man's been around, has become an Australian icon. That's all I can call him.
He's a singer, and my favourite singer is Stevie Wonder, which is also his favourite singer, and he's up there with Stevie Wonder to me. So I'm working with someone who's incredible every night. So that's,
Much
and
respect.
consistently incredible.
You're going to have one too, aren't you?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'd really like you to join in. Okay, you ready? Kick my tiny little ass. Oh, tiny little ass. Down, ouch. Good luck, mate. None of that sipping straight down. Oh.
How do you sing after that?
Oh, you call that singing?
Just, when they raise their glass. From every dusty back room where they sipped a couple cocktails listening to some pub rock, all the way to the pinnacle and tip top of his tent tour. I'm not a drunk, but I worked in the bars and the clubs. And for everyone who wants to look at the non-drinking side of the world, more power to you. Here's one to all the cocktail consumers. Keep out of trouble, don't hurt yourself, and enjoy with responsibility. And I was saying...
You're the Voice is, of course, the song that resurrected Farnham's career in 1986. Glenn Wheatley mortgaged his house to bankroll the album Whispering Jack, which went on to sell 1.7 million copies, an all-time Australian record. Perhaps one of the reasons Farnham is so popular is that he's known the flip side of fame. In the mid-80s, he was washed up, depressed, so broke he could barely afford to feed his family.
I'll never forget this. We were sitting around with a dragon, who I call my mother-in-law, and we were sitting there watching TV.
I knew that.
Dragon, who I call my mother-in-law. And I was sitting there watching TV, and she said, why don't we take Robert out, because McDonald's, the whole thing. Why don't we take Robert to McDonald's for dinner? And we couldn't. I just turned around, got behind her back and said to Jill, we can't afford to. We couldn't even go to McDonald's,
It was the lowest of the lows, wasn't it?
That's true.
How low?
Well, it's the lowest I've ever been, as low as it can get for me. It was a very uncomfortable time for me. I ended up on the lounge room floor in the fetal position, just not wanting to do or go or be or see anything. And Jill, my wife, actually, Jillie's a very strong personality and a great bird, and she actually lifted me up and pulled me out of it. She was amazing.
I find that really hard to believe, talking to you today, that's how you were.
Oh yeah.
Agoraphobia.
Oh, complete dribbling mess on the ground, seriously.
I'm going to excuse myself for 1 minute. I'll be right back. It'll look like a second, but it'll take a minute. Hi, welcome back. I bet it seemed like an instant, huh? Well, it's a safe bet. My dad taught me only to bet on a sure thing. So, heads I win, tails you lose kind of thing. To be fair, this is where I lose that 2% every time. So, that last part of the interview struck a chord with me. So, I like to, I wanted more. 60 Minutes is a nice hallmark approach to the basic details, and I respect that. At least they didn't sugarcoat anything in a way. Well, in a way they did. Because, unfortunately, the record left behind is farther than, this 60 Minutes thing. And I would say if you just wanted to go and check out some of the information within the bio of his Wikipedia or some of that information, I'm super grateful that he pulled out of it and is the man that he is, and I've discovered him and everything that comes with that. There appears to be quite a bit of work from 64 on. And even with a lot of work, things can get complicated, right? So respect. And I'm not going there. You'd have to do this. I'm not trying to force people to look stuff up. At the same time, it all depends on how deep you want to look into things. And the best thing is I can put is, I know a couple guys who went in on bad restaurant ventures. Okay? See what I'm saying? That's a little different than we...
You today, that's how you were.
Oh yeah.
Agoraphobia.
Oh, complete dribbling mess on the ground, seriously.
And like I said, nothing but utmost respect. I'm not, I hope, like I said, this is always that 2%. And I don't know if everyone knows this. We have a little tab, so I can tell who unsubscribes from a video. I mean, I can't tell their name or nothing. That would take a lot of work. But you can tell when you lose people. So I know sometimes people are like, why? Why does he have to, why? Well, because it's real. Right? I have the utmost respect still. It's just complicated and too complicated for a 60-minute special. It's taken me an hour to watch 13 minutes of film.
15 months after Whispering Jack's release, Farnham was named Australian...
Okay, I lied. I'm lying. Excuse me. It's 40 minutes. I don't want to... I over-exaggerated. Let's fix that. But we're 40 minutes into a 13-minute show. And I skipped the panty part.
Of the year. The man with the mullet was back on top and has stayed there ever since.
That's the point.
This is where I do all my cooking.
Yes, of course. These days, even on the road, he has all the trappings of success. But deep down, he's still just another knockabout muso. Are you more than a singer?
Just a singer.
You're not a showman?
I'm a show off. Please let me do the joke, son.
Once again, there it is. That's what I mean. That's all I mean. Is I think he's pretty modest and humble. I think that's where the good man shines through right there. Because hell yeah, he's a showman. He can't even turn it off. I doubled down on that. There's one of those sure bets I'd place. Is that it's in him to his core. Along with that modesty and humility. That's a potent package, huh, ladies, once again.
Muso. Are you more than a singer?
Just a singer.
You're not a showman?
I'm a show off. Please let me do the joke, son. Are you bloody close enough? It's all right for you. This goes to millions of people. They're going to see the pimples and everything. Hang on, I'll fix it.
Somewhere in Australia tonight, John Farnham is belting out songs from a career that's lasted nearly 4 decades. You don't have to like his music, but in this era of instant celebrity, you've got to hand it to him. He's one of a kind.
I want to hear that again. In a prepackaged, perfect presentation, even some hallmark moments are perfect. And that was a nice close right there. I will give props and respect to that line a lot.
Songs from a career that's lasted nearly 4 decades. You don't have to like his music, but in this era of instant celebrity, you've got to hand it to him. He's one of a kind.
That is a really great way of putting it. And he covered it with saying you don't have to like it. I cover it with the subjective nature of music. And the only caveat I would make there is, is the voice. That's a given. If we sometimes to forget about just how great he is a singer, we can then explore what an interesting man he was too. Right? So, all credit where credit is due. And as I said, it's just something to behold. And even if I don't say it enough, I definitely recognize the actual voice, the accomplishments, the whole thing. I like the whole package, but I gotta hear that. I think it's well said, and we'll wrap this up. And I am so grateful, looking forward to this with Ange. It was, I think I got to take the dog out quick, and then we'll wrap it up. All right, and I'm pretty sure what it was some really, really well-placed words here.
Somewhere in Australia tonight, John Farnham is belting out songs from a career that's lasted nearly 4 decades. You don't have to like his music, but in this era of instant celebrity, you've got to hand it to him. He's one of a kind.
Nice guys do finish first.
Limber. Limber. Very limber. He addressed that. Don't let him pull you over. And yeah, from the 40-year career to the incredible voice, there is so much to be respected. So I hope I've done nothing but John Farnham correctly. From my own take, of course. Right? It's not the same as everybody else's. You don't have to necessarily like everything I say, but I hope you understand I respect everything I've seen. That's it. And then nothing. Well, there is a huge space inside my my heart for Australia because of this man. I mean, I had a little place because of someone I knew who lived there before I met any of you. So trust me, it's not like I didn't know you existed. I didn't know you'd steal a little chunk of my heart, though.
Nice guys do finish first, John. That's a statement, not a question, but yeah, they do, and I get that feeling. I think everyone gets that feeling.
Thanks, mate. Thank you.
I can't wait for Edge to see this. I let that go enough. Much respect. I mean, really, I'm not a hater. I might seem like it, but I'm not. I can respect a nice tight package like that, presentable. It's good work. I was well worth my time and effort to watch it. And yeah, I did work through it, so my evening relaxation time went to all of us, but after the day I just had and everything I saw in my comments, you are all worth it. Thank you for joining me with the journey, especially John Farnham fans. Anybody who sat through everything today, this is one of those days where I just want to let you know, I mean, you're all the reason we do it. And we'll get up tomorrow and do it again. Have a good evening or morning or wherever you're at. Bye.